Well, I guess we should do an intro first, huh? The second installment of our devlog for our Minecraft server that we're opening. It is I, BreezyB, along with Camo Ninja. Say hello, please.
What up?
Thank you. Camo Ninja is stepping in as a producer and co-owner of the server, and I will be developing the storyline and the physical missions that are going to take, or the virtual missions that are going to take place in this MMORPG that we're basically creating on our custom Minecraft server that we're going to open up to the public. So we'd like to extend the invitation to everybody to come play with us. And I'm going to update Camo Ninja on the progress the server has been making this week. I guess I'm going to show some video of that so that we can see the progress we made since the last video we played, which was some content of us playing together in another custom server that we enjoy playing Minecraft on.
I'm actually, it's the first chance I'm getting to actually look at our mod list so I can add them to
oh yeah.
AT Locker.
I found out that I can basically drag and drop those over into Discord. So if you have a problem with that, let me know and I can help you resolve that. Okay, so there's the frame of the Great Hall. And I've made a little bit more progress on it. It's got a little bit, there's a full roof where the peak is. And actually, our buddies from the Minecraft server, the Pixelmon server, I'm sorry, that we play on, I've gotten them in and whitelisted a few people to come in as builders and help us out a little bit. But it's really cool. And actually, my cousins and a couple of friends are also kind of helping jump in on this. So we've got a few builders on our side, but I'm primarily trying to take the lead and help everyone unleash their creativity and things like that. And can you see right now me opening up this menu?
Yeah.
That's a mod. It is it's a tool belt mod, so you can add all of those items that you see and items that stack that same way. You can put them on this tool belt, and you can press. Well, if you map your keys correctly, it's part of the things. I need to find a plugin that can help either automatically tell people a great way to map their keys, or kind of give instructions, because a couple of our plugins will actually automatically set some conflicting key maps. But I figured out a pretty decent way to set it up, even in creative mode, because that makes a bit of a difference. Because there's several plugins that are pretty much just for world building. That's Wayne and Garth, the dogs. They're kind of protecting this. This is actually a spawn area where everyone will begin the game. And so that's the Hall of Valhalla. As you can see, the tool belt is actually wearable. It's equipable with another plugin that I have selected for the game, which all the people who created the plugins are doing great jobs. So I would like to bring awareness to those people and give them credit. So I'm going to try to put a link in the description to all the plugins that I'm using. And this is me actually trying to figure out how to use the game and be in backwards third person. So I'm panicking, I destroyed the Waystone. So you can actually see a lot of the things in my menu right now because I'm trying to get the Waystone back in my inventory to go replace it. But I'm struggling because of the point of view of the camera, and I'm trying to be cool for the camera, but I'm really struggling, you could tell. But it was easy to fix, and there's a lot that's actually happened since I recorded this video, but you can tell the direction the progress is taking. You can also see that there's roads that I've established, and oh, that's me saying no when I just shook my head. I was like, I can't do it. I was giving up because it was tough to get it back in place. But anyway, you can also tell that I've got some pretty cool armor on. These are all the parts of the mod packs that I included, and there's a lot of great tools and utilities for like finding what has been added and doing research on exactly what commands come with those mods and those plugins. And like I said, I would really love to give credit to everybody who helped make the game. So I'm gonna definitely make sure that they get tagged or promoted somehow. Also, we did sign up for the what is it? The affiliate program for the owners of our server. So if anyone else would like to open a server of their own, we'll also provide a link in the description. If you want to kind of follow along with us, you're more than welcome. As you can see, we've created the Valhalla Waystone. This is going to be the main teleportation spot for the entire server. This is going to be the start, and this is going to be the continuous meeting place. And a lot of the story is going to revolve in each of the paths are going to involve going to these different places that you can unlock and that are connected through teleportation. As you can see, this is the place that I've reserved as the first boss to kind of demonstrate this mechanic and establish it as part of the world that we're in, that we're creating, that's unique. And it's just this little mountaintop that's actually really close to the starting point. It's having a hard time loading the chunks because I was recording and playing at the same time, and my computer was kind of struggling with it. But normally, once you load something on here, it stays loaded. This is kind of atypical, but it's like as soon as I turned off the recording software, it stopped doing that. So, so there's some of the plugins that I have enable some utilities that are really helpful for world editing. You can set certain items to become like brushes, and like I don't know if I did an example in this, but you can see the roads there. Shoot, that's looking real bad. The roads that I created, each of them are going to have a unique storyline. So somebody, okay, so let's say for example, you log in and you want to be a warrior, or you want to be some kind of mage or something. The path to the Mage's Guild, for example, is going to be in a particular direction, and the path to like an arena where you can go be a warrior is going to be in another direction, and the path to do like typical Minecraft stuff is going to be in another direction. So it's going to make it easy to kind of categorize in zones where to go to get the best, advance in the fastest way in your chosen field, because there are plugins and mods that give special advantages to being those things. There's classes. There's also a mod in the chat, which I'm still kind of debating if I want to keep, because sometimes it's kind of annoying, but maybe it's just annoying to me right now as a creator, but I still love the idea as being part of the world that I'm creating. The chat will only show whispery looking hieroglyphs and rotating runes if you're too far away from someone. You have to be like 5 blocks away from them, or close to them by a matter of 5 blocks, or else they're not going to hear you. And you can increase the volume, so you increase the range of your voice by adding exclamation points to the how do I get this to go away? Adding exclamation points to the command. So I think it adds by 5 blocks or something like that. There's a specific formula for what it adds, and there's a limit to how much it adds. So that's a significant, I think, unique setting style chat command. But then there's also like a matter of someone griefing someone and like harassing them. So I've also installed like snoop commands, so that if someone has a dispute over someone saying rude things, we can look at their private messages just by using a command.
Nice.
And so we can sort of uncover that. So that, like, I've thought about a lot of different elements like that, and I've got a lot of different mods that we could talk about. But I really think it's important to also talk about these world edit mods. I'm kind of showing off that in this this roof that I'm making. I'm going to skip forward just a little bit, because you can see where I just pulled up the you can see that I'm copying and pasting a piece of the roof and trying to paste it in place, but I got it a little bit wrong. But you can use this utility, and if you plan it just right, I mean, you can see I'm undoing where I got it messed up, and then I'm going back and kind of playing with it. There's also there's this mod, the sponge mod, where you can load. It allows you to add mods to your server list and plugins, which is very unique because sometimes the way the mod community is set up, sometimes you have to choose between one or the other. But the sponge mod adds a lot of flexibility with that. And so there's ways in the game. It has mods and commands. I'm sorry, not mods, but commands. It has commands that you can use to reference the source of these mods, and you can look up the information very easily by checking the list and confirming even if the mod is loaded properly and things like that. So those are going to be very important tools for us. So as you can see, this is going to be a pretty large structure. Let's see what else I kind of looked at. Let's see how far I got with this. So this is me experimenting, because I know I changed a lot about what I did at first with the roof. And one of the players that this all got changed. I know it got. But you can see I kind of experimented with that and figured stuff out. Let's see about this other video. I'm going to have to stop the screen share for 1 second. So another mechanic, since we were talking about using Valhalla and Ragnarok as kind of our inspiration, I've decided that it would be really effective for us to make a time loop where in our server, every once in a while an event happens. Every once in a while an event will happen that is Ragnarok. And that is actually the end of Valhalla in Norse legend. So when something like that happens, what we'll be doing with the server is taking that as an opportunity to reset things that players have done. Let's say in Minecraft, you go to the end and you fight the Ender Dragon, and you're the first to do it. Well, at that point, we're going to host an event in the server worldwide that's going to change things back to a starting point. It's going to reset that achievement so that other people can do it, unless the game is already set up to do that. But it's going to be part of the Ragnarok experience. It's going to be part of the Lithobia experience to have to come back and kind of reclaim what you had in some cases, and in some cases you'll be starting with what you already had. So there's going to be a little bit of a roguelike element of not necessarily starting from scratch, but starting again with more opportunities than what you had the first time you started. And you'll be able to maintain like your character. It's a little bit hard to describe, but our goal is to maintain a balance where everyone is able to have a chance to go slay the dragon or whatever they want to do, and everyone's able to choose kind of a story in the order that they want to do. But the idea is to pump this world with as many different role-playing experiences as possible, and keep building on it and keep making it smooth and making it a legendary place to come and have fun. And right now you see I'm using a different set of tools. These walls actually got completely changed. I hated the way it looked. So parts of the structure are going to still be the same, like this area where there's a door heading out to this road, that's going to be incorporated. But I'm changing. Basically, the house is so massive that just one wall thick doesn't work. It needs a little bit more dimension. So I took these walls down, and I'm doing other things to this structure to make it look more dynamic architecturally. And my skills are really kind of not the best, but I'm learning. But anyway, I've got the basic shape of how I want it to look and the size and scope, and I think it's going to be nice in the end, and it's going to get the job done, that's for sure. But you can tell with this wand that I'm using, this purple one adds the block you see, and it stopped because of the spider at the end there, but it's very handy for just adding a row of things where they are, and you can get in and kind of use it like a paintbrush. I have to kill the spider with this boomerang, which has a one-hit kill because of all the enchantments that I put on it. It's a pretty cool item, and it'll also retrieve items on the ground and stuff like that. It's really awesome. And there's a lot of other cool weapons and stuff to play with and for people to use. And I'm also, my flight speed is boosted because of some items that I have as well. So this wand, you can tell there's another one in my inventory that does the same thing but in reverse. So I could actually delete a bunch of objects and it would highlight it and things like that. And you can tell like it adds only into the air blocks. It doesn't replace any of the other blocks around it. It's very, very cool. And they have another set of the same two tools in this mod pack that are yellow, and they don't they have a limit to how many blocks they add. It's like a smaller brush, but it does the same effect. A fine tip brush, if you will. But yeah, that's kind of the highlights of where we got in terms of how I want to do gameplay and a little bit of the mods that we've put together. And we're getting close, actually. We're making a lot of progress. So to this point, I think I've got the shape of the roof down in this video. At this point, you can kind of see sort of the overhang shape that I like. And there's kind of that porch area over in the front that's going to be pretty cool. We've already discovered a couple of locations to add quests, and really we just need to sit down and brainstorm some missions and things.
Yeah.
I've established 2 other buildings. Oh look, this is when Nugs joined the game. So I've probably got a little bit of stuff with us together. Let's see. We're going to skip forward a little bit. There, yeah. So this is where I trimmed these logs that extended off the back for a little bit of aesthetic balance. I've just been doing stuff like that since the making of this video. So this object that you see is kind of changing and living right now and taking on its final shape. This is when I realized that Nugs had come back from being AFK because he just turned the sun on, or he turned it on day, and he actually added that little embellishment that you see on the roof there. He added that little detail, and it really kind of brought things into perspective for me to realize that, oh crap, I need to actually thicken everything and add, layers. And I kind of had a plan for that. So I was glad that he came on and did this because it reoriented my focus. So I kind of have a better idea of how I want to actually execute this build on this particular structure. So actually the spot that I'm looking at right now, we're gonna put a. I can't remember what side of the road I did, but on one side is a library, and on the other side is a tavern. And these two areas are gonna be for information. So they're actually literally right next to where you spawn in. So there's a high chance that's going to be one of the first buildings you go into. Otherwise, it's in a common area where most people actually gather a lot.
Yeah.
Like I said, I hate these walls, and I'm going to change a lot about them. But I do have some reference materials. Maybe I'll show you, or I'll maybe if I can find a way to show them in the video. But I don't know if they're copyright or whatever. I don't know how that's going to affect that decision. But there's definitely some material that I'll share with you privately, that I used as inspiration for that build. And I'm going to kind of look up some other buildings that we can kind of use as reference for this main town. But I'm kind of coming up with a unique style of buildings to place this world in a certain way. But obviously, the starting place is Norse style, sort of ancient Viking style structures.
Yeah.
So like I said, there's going to be a tavern, and it's going to be information for like repeatable quests, like bounties, where it's like go gather this amount of wood or kill these many pigs or whatever, find ore, and then you can come back and get a. Yeah, go ahead.
I do have a world question.
Yeah, go ahead.
I know we are basing this off Norse mythology, but I know this is also like something that's our own creation that we're taking inspiration from Norse mythology.
Absolutely, that's the way to look at it.
Are we potentially going to add like other influences from maybe other cultures and like maybe a different area, like far off from the main?
Absolutely, I'm
spawn?
absolutely for that. There's no reason not to. The Norse mythology is just the inspiration for this building, the structure, and the daily event. But the paths, I am completely in favor of taking a specific sort of cultural referential direction with each path, or something of that nature, something that we're drawn to, even down to, like, I don't know if you noticed, but there's lightsabers, or sorry, it's called a Lux Saber in this game. So there's like advanced technology mods and things that we can sort of incorporate in its own kind of culturally significant way that we just made up, or we found something that we can reference, whether it's from a mythological or a sci-fi or a fantasy. Yeah, anything. We can sort of incorporate that. I would like to stay away from sci-fi as much as we can, but if there's a unique way to do like steampunk kind of,
That'd be cool.
yeah, I think that would fit better with the world in terms of world building. But I mean, if there's
make it like high fantasy.
Yeah, absolutely. And to that end, there's one mod that I haven't even delved too much into. It's Twilight Forest, and it's a whole like other dimension, like yeah.
I just saw that on the mod list, and I've actually seen some of the YouTubers I follow. They made it they had a server, and that's one of like the first mods that they installed.
It's great.
What little bit I've seen of the world, like I've watched them kill like 2 of the bosses in there.
Oh wow, nice.
The author of that mod, like they did such an amazing job with world building. Like the Twilight Forest looks amazing, and the different environments and stuff. Like there's like one part or a specific biome where it's acid rain. So if you're like out in the rain, you're constantly taking damage.
That's so interesting.
Yeah.
Especially for like late gamers who have been playing. Like I've been talking to a few people, and they're like a little bit gun shy. They're a little bit reluctant to jump in because they like the vanilla Minecraft experience. And the more I talk to them about like the RPG potential and the serious world making and game building potential behind the project, they start to get a little bit more excited. Like, oh wow, you can actually almost create an entirely new game
Yeah.
for people to play.
Like
And yeah,
I could see that side of things. Like I mentioned the other day about getting a realm so we could experiment in creative, but I've also just been interested in buying a realm just to have just a vanilla
right.
server for us to play on, and we can invite our friends just to have the vanilla Minecraft experience. But like playing, since we've been playing Pixelmon, has also really got me interested in the mods, because you're right, you can make. I mean, they made Pokemon in Minecraft. Like, that's
Oh, you see this?
amazing.
Sorry to interrupt, but you see on screen all of that text that's
Yeah.
just flipping by. That was because, yeah, I'm asking him to resend the message. It takes him a while to understand because you can't see it from your perspective. From his perspective, it looks like the message is just out there in the world. So it's a little bit frustrating when it's just two of you on the server and you're trying to talk to each other like normal. But yeah, I think it's actually going to work well for the world I want to create. And he's experimenting with some of the mods that he knows about, and he's figuring them out. And it's kind of interesting to see the choices he makes when he's like scrolling through and discovering. But he kind of uses that thing that he struck the ground to make marks and stuff. Sometimes it's interesting. He's pretty sharp with the things he figured out. But anyway, that I think he entered a command that froze the server because it was too powerful for it to handle. So that's another thing to keep in mind. Like, we do have it set up to experiment, but there are some stress tests that we haven't completely figured out what's the limit on. But I do have it set to save pretty frequently, and I've got everything backed up so far. So we haven't really lost anything.
Back to the
Oh yeah, please continue.
Question about the different inspirations, like because I had the thought the other day of like finding somewhere where there's a large desert biome and like making a Egyptian themed city, and
oh, that would be great. That would be awesome.
make like if find some way to make some giant, like maybe like a giant like Anubis statue, or like some kind of Egyptian mythology influence. Definitely at least one giant pyramid, if not multiples.
And we have
maybe.
Go ahead.
Maybe we can have one like real big one, and that be like a boss dungeon, and you have to like.
I feel like there
could snake your way through the mazes of the pyramid, and once you get to the central chamber, that's where a boss fight may be.
Absolutely. That's pretty much gonna be in general the concept of every or a lot of the missions, at least the dungeon crawling missions, because there's going to be like types of missions, right? There's the only missions that I want to feel like going somewhere and doing it and coming back and talking to someone, because that kind of gets so old in the MMORPG world. The only, I mean, there is going to have to be an element of speaking to an NPC or interacting with something or triggering an event. There's going to have to be some kind of element of that. But the thing is, I've kind of thought that out and picked a selection of mods that credit themselves to or lend themselves towards sort of world building in the same way that you would in a game maker, where you have pre-created all your 3D assets and you can go and place them and program them. But it's a little bit easier because there's a mod, and there's this one interesting wand that I didn't actually vid capture for you, but I'll try and vid capture it for the video, just so I can put an example at this part where we're speaking. You create an NPC and you can give it the dialogue that you want it to have, and you can tell it to stand in a certain place, or you can tell it to have a certain pathway to walk, or you can tell it to be aggressive. You can set the amount of, the length of time between when it respawns. You can do all kinds of like very meticulous parameters, and we can essentially I mean, I don't know how. I looked through it, but I didn't. There's a couple of videos. I'll send you a link to the video actually, of a tutorial of using this tool where the guy has created a bunch of different entities, and he can go and like you can choose the sound effects that they use for the ways they interact with the world. So you can create a lot of unique. You can even upload your own skins to the NPCs, and you can change. It's very. It's a wonderful mod or plugin, whichever. And I'll be sure to credit them as well. But it's super awesome, and that's just like one of many plugins that I put in that we can use to our disposal to create an entire universe of however we want. So I say all that to say that with the world building potential that Minecraft has, we can do all types of stuff with traps and dungeons and sort of mind bending. Like there could be one path that we make that is just notoriously dangerous, and it's going to be recommended or even maybe required to have a party of people. Like you're not going to do it by yourself. You must take someone else, probably with a different skill set. You're probably not going to be able to get through this without a wizard and a warrior, for example. And I think we should have a path that is beyond it seems like it's legendary status, because I would love to see someone come to the server after it's well established that you can only do this with 2 people, and then this person is just bold enough and daring enough to try it on their own and then succeed. I would love to see that happen. It would impress me beyond all belief. But that would also give us the bar that we need to then continue adding to that path to make it even more challenging. Because I want it to be a game for everyone, where people can find something extremely difficult to do, or people can just chill and relax like normal vanilla Minecraft, where you're just mining coal and organizing chests all day. But then we also have a lot of stuff. Like I've got a couple of like trap mods. Maybe not even that many actually, but I can look into it. But there's still so many things you can do with vanilla Minecraft just to make annoying traps. But besides that, there's also sort of like social quests, sort of like a Fallout style, like recovering items and making decisions. There's a couple of not quests, mods that I have. Sorry, I'm leaning forward and it's sort of choking off my oxygen. But I need to sit up straight when I'm trying to be in range of the microphone. Oh yeah, but as I was saying, you can take like books and you can control, for example, the page style and the messages of the books, and so you can have sort of hidden quests that are within some library, for example, that people begin just by happening upon a certain book. You know, something very unique and sort of hard to find, but it's there if you are daring or curious enough to happen upon this event trigger. And there's a lot of different. There's also I mean, I could just go on for hours really about this. There's a mod that has configurable chests where you can tell it when to refill the chest with something else, so that if it's so if it's part of a quest and you can pretty much only get there at a certain time,
or even just like with a dungeon, that way, you know,
the loot
we can set a chest for loot to respawn.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like in Pixelmon, for instance, like when you're exploring the end or the Nether, and you come across like either like a Nether city or another fortress, and all the chests are empty because they've already been looted. Like we can set it up so that way there's not that disappointment.
Absolutely.
When someone finds it, it's still, as much of a, monumental find as it is in, vanilla Minecraft.
Right, it should still be rewarding. And we want to create places, but we also, the balance there is figuring out how once you have found that, you're not tempted to keep going back to it to exploit it. We have to figure out ways that people can only approach it from one way. There's only one way to get there.
Yeah.
Or after you've done it, like we need to. The second way to balance it is that the item received is not so interesting that it can be exploitable. That's going to be a problem. That's going to be where we find our balance there. But the fact that that is our problem is going to be excellent, because that's really not too difficult to figure out. And and that means our tools are like so powerful.
In chests, at least, I mean, it could be, maybe not vanilla Minecraft kind of loot, because sometimes, you open a chest and it's full of rotten flesh and string.
Absolutely, yeah.
Not that amazing, but some kind, at least like a little bit of money and maybe a tool or a weapon.
I do like
nothing OP.
Yeah, of course. Well, sometimes something that everyone should have, but there's got to be a way. I do have a certain item control mods. There's probably a parameter where if you already have something in your inventory, you can't hold another one. So there's just a way, so people can't just keep going back to a certain spot and exploiting the time. Or there's probably a way that it's locked for someone, or they only have permission at a certain time. There's probably a way around where we can actually reward someone with something really nice, but they only have the opportunity to get it one time. Maybe there's a way to generate a code and they can redeem it in the store for free or something. I don't know. There's got to be a way we can figure it out. I'm sure.
Or like the keys from Pixelmon.
Yeah,
yeah. They do something and then they get a specific key.
Yes, and I did install that mod, so we do have the ability to set that up very easily.
So then they go either to back to
the tavern or something. I think that's exactly right. That should be the central location for going and returning things that you got from a quest. That's going to be that area for sure. And that would be we could have an NPC there who is quote unquote operating a bounty board, where there's repeatable quests where if you just need to get some resources and you want a little boost to your experience or your boost to your gold or whatever, you can go and sort of pick up a bounty that matches, go find a certain amount of coal, or go find a certain amount of iron ore or logs or whatever. And then when you bring back the verification of that quest, you get gold or an item or something, I don't know, or an axe or something that would benefit you or encourage you to continue doing that goal. Something that goes alongside with it, but it's not too ridiculous. There's also a salary mod, so that people kind of generate income just from being online. So
nice. I saw that in the
in the video
chat log.
Yeah, that was great. And we can change all the parameters. We can adjust how much they get, when they get it. We can turn it off completely. There's so much control in all of the mods that I've set up. That we can build, like I said, a completely new world. But now we're getting up to about 45 minutes, and I think it's going to be hard to edit down the video. So I think we're at a pretty good spot with the recording. We've covered a lot of ground. So, yeah, I think anything else that I forgot to mention, I'm just going to include in the text of the video like I did last time.
Okay.
And, I guess we can end the call here, and if you want to get your client updated so you can log in, I think that sounds good. That way you can play around if you want. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.